In this video, we're breaking down the role of police dispatchers, what counts as reasonable suspicion, and where the line crosses into harassment. It all starts with Mr. Livingston, who was standing on a public sidewalk outside the Jolly Pumpkin Brewery in East Ling, Michigan. He was filming guests on the patio after getting a tip that local police had been forcing homeless individuals off that very sidewalk illegally.
Hingham County Central Dispatch, how can I help you?
Hi, yes, I'm calling from Jolly Pumpkin. I don't know if we can do anything about this, but there's a gentleman out front of my restaurant who's recording all of my guests that are in my patio. I'd asked him to stop, and my guests are like putting menus in front of their faces as they don't want me recorded or pictures taken, and he will not stop.
Okay, is he still there now?
Yes, he said he was doing an investigation, but couldn't tell me any information on it. So I said if he couldn't stop it,
While calling the dispatcher, the manager clearly said that Mr. Livingston wasn't on the property. He was standing on the public sidewalk right in front of the business.
Okay, do you know if he arrived on foot or in a vehicle?
he was walking to the foot.
Okay, and where is he currently in the store?
He's not in the store, he's outside. He's right in front of, like, my patio outside. Sidewalk.
Okay. And he's still recording the customers?
Yep, he told me he would not stop.
Despite being on public property, the dispatcher labeled Mr. Livingston as a suspicious person, claiming he was refusing to leave the Jolly Pumpkin.
We're both going to Jolly Pumpkin. 218 Albert, looking for a 45-year-old white male, a beard, sunglasses, white shirt, black pants, a smiley face on it, recording customers, refusing to leave, no weapon.
Officer Jordan Willis and Officer Brennan Sermon from the East Landing Police responded to the call. A short while later, they were joined by Sergeant Chad Steeman. When Officer Willis arrived, he found Mr. Livingston standing peacefully on the sidewalk in front of the brewery.
Hey, what's up? Good, yourself?
Good. So we just got a call from Jolly Pumpkin here saying that they don't want you to videotape in this area right here.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have your ID on you?
Am I committing a crime?
So they just want you to be moved along from the premises.
Okay.
Have you been trespassed or anything?
I'm not even on their property.
So this is Jolly Pumpkin's property right here.
The public sidewalk is their property? I mean, they clearly broke off what they're using.
This is for seating right here.
This is... Hey, what's up, bro?
Do you mind if I see your ID?
Have I done something wrong?
So they just want you moved along, so we don't know if it's up to go in there and ask them if they want you trespassed or not. Being on the property. I'm not trying to make it hard for you at all.
I'm not trying to either. I just really believe that I'm on public property, not their property, and therefore I'm not committing a crime. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm taking pictures in public, which is a First Amendment right. Therefore, it shouldn't be ID'd. I shouldn't be trespassed. I shouldn't be anything. This is where I'm at. I mean,
yeah, I understand. Ultimately, they just don't want you on their property anymore because it can kind of make other people feel uncomfortable in the area. It's making staff feel uncomfortable.
To stop the trespass, I'll move down to the end of their barrel, and then it's confusing to me, but then I'm off their property even though it's public sidewalk, right?
I mean, this is technically like their property here. They have, so if you're on like their premises here, they just don't want you around their business right now. It's making people feel uncomfortable a little bit, so. What are you taking pictures of, just like students and stuff, or?
I was just walking along taking pictures until one of their customers called me back and a couple other things, and then I stayed.
Officer Sermon is in there right now just talking to staff about it, and if anything, they just want you moved along, so we'll just wait a minute here.
His Officer Willis explained that the Jolly Pumpkin wanted Mr. Livingston away from the area because his filming was making guests uncomfortable. Officer Serman went inside to speak with the brewery staff.
Hi. You looking for our manager? Whoever, yes. Okay. He'll probably be the best person to talk to. One
Thank
second.
you.
We have your candy box right here, okay? Here you go. You're welcome.
Hi. Are you the one that called on him? Okay. You want him trespassed?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep, of course.
Alright, my man. You got your ID on you?
Have I broken the law?
No, they want you trespass, so therefore we have the right to ID.
I have a right to leave then, right?
No. You are now being detained because you are going to be trespassed. I need to identify you before you're trespassed. In order to write you your trespass notice.
That's what they took the glasses off, man.
Alright. So you're going to trespass me from this sidewalk?
Yeah, you want me to do. What's that? No, you're trespassing from this establishment.
But I'm not in the establishment.
They have the right to trespass you.
I've never been on their property.
They have the right to trespass you.
So I can stay here.
The sidewalk is public.
So I can stay here.
You have a
You're
First
just
Amendment right.
trespassing me from walking
Correct.
inside.
Correct.
Okay. No.
I don't know why you would want to do that because they're frustrated with you.
I don't know why they would trespass me from their property without even being on their property.
They have the right to do that. It is a private establishment. It is a private establishment.
Without confirming whether Mr. Livingston had ever stepped onto private property, Officer Sermon asked the manager if she wanted to trespass him. Moments later, he told Mr. Livingston he was being detained and demanded his ID. Despite East Lansing's code requiring reasonable suspicion to do so, we'll look at whether the officers actually had that suspicion later. But for now, it's clear Sermon acted without verifying the facts or informing Mr. Livingston of his rights.
That I never entered.
If they would like you trespassed, you're trespassing.
If the field house across the street calls you and says they want me trespassed because I'm on a sidewalk, you're going to do it?
Sure.
So anybody,
I highly doubt that
trust anybody off of the
I
sidewalk.
highly doubt that Fieldhouse would call and have you trespass just because you're standing on a sidewalk.
I felt the same way about the Jolly Pumpkin.
Okay.
But that's being proved wrong.
Okay. Hey, hold on. Sorry, this is Sermon. So this guy out here, Jolly Pumpkin, wants him trespass. He claims he never entered the establishment, but it's still private property if they want him trespassed from entering. They're uncomfortable with him. I didn't ask them. I can go in there and ask them. He's claiming that he never entered Jolly Pumpkin. But I mean, regardless, it's private property if they don't want him, and it's not trespassing from being on the sidewalk. It's correct. So he's allowed to be there. He's allowed to record. He's allowed to do what he wants. But if they want to trespass him, but they are pretty. I guess I can go talk to them and double check. But okay.
East Lansing, okay. Going to be holding a PD accident, Harrison and California.
All right, I'll go ask them then and establish if he ever entered. So like past the barrels, that would be their property, right?
Right, Lansing unit.
Okay. All right, sounds good. I'll go inside with them to double check. I think he's just one of those First Amendment guys. All right, I'll go double check with them inside really quick. All right, bye. Don't print it yet. I'm gonna go and talk to them inside and see if he ever entered in, and then I'm gonna talk to them and try to, just so there's not issues between them, because he could sue them if they tell us that they want him trespassed, but he never actually entered. Like Steven said it's like a gray line. Like he could, but I'll be right back.
How you doing?
So what has he been doing the whole time? As he came inside, as he came up to the door?
No, he's been where he was at, but he's recording all of my guests, and they're putting like menus in front of their faces, and he will not stop recording them, and they keep telling him to stop, and he will not stop.
Okay.
He told me he was doing an investigation, but couldn't tell me anything about anything, and he will not stop. And I said, okay, I'm going to call the police, see what's going on. He's like, do you think the police will stop me? I said, I guess we'll find out.
Okay. So
He's on my property, I can't get the trespassing, right?
So it's kind of a gray line because he's right in front of your establishment, but he never entered it. But the sidewalk is public property. I'm going to have another chat with my sergeant and see. I am kind of also trying to mediate between you and between him and trying to find, like, if he can just move a block down so that he's done bothering you and then he doesn't have to be trespassed. That would be...
He simply told me he would not stop recording, so he's not going to stop recording. All my guests have been uncomfortable, and that's not good for my business, obviously, for my guests.
Okay.
So.
All right. Okay. Okay, Joseph, can we find a way to mediate this where there's not issues between you and Jolly Pumpkin?
Well, right now my issue is with you guys forcing me to give you my ID.
Okay, I am investigating a possible trespass. Okay, I have reasonable suspicion to ID you because a crime is
You
afoot.
have reasonable.
I don't know when I come on scene and I make contact with you.
16 and 35.
And he did go in and talk. Did they lie? Did they lie?
I just went. No, they
you
just
went
said.
inside before you took my ID. You went inside and talked to them.
I said, would you like him trespass from your property? They said yes. So then I came outside here.
So you solicited a trespass without doing your investigation. Is what you.
Are you willing to have a conversation with me or no?
You just said you went inside to find out if.
Correct.
I went on their property,
I
but
told
you
you
went
exactly what I
inside and
just
said,
said.
"Do you want him trespassed?"
Is giving us the reasonable suspicion to make contact with you, correct?
No, I can call the cops on them.
Yeah,
You can, yes.
Yeah, we will talk.
Yes,
and
100%.
investigate it.
Why would you? I mean, what are they doing wrong? I
Why-
can see from here.
Well, what are you doing
All they're
wrong?
doing is
Called
being
us, they
beautiful.
called us for trespass.
I mean,
Well, what are you doing wrong?
That's what the call is. I'll even
that
tell you.
right. So you should
Exactly.
have never even talked to me. When
Exactly.
you see me driving by,
So-
went, "Oh wow,
so-
that's guys in public
So yes, I
taking
went.
pictures."
How do I know?
Can I have my ID back?
Officer Sermon and Sergeant Steeman claimed they had reasonable suspicion of trespassing to demand Mr. Livingston's ID, but Michigan law requires someone to actually be on private property to be trespassing, and Mr. Livingston was never on the Jolly Pumpkins property. In fact, the manager told the dispatcher he was only standing on the public sidewalk, so despite the officer's claim, there was no legal basis for detaining him or demanding ID, making the stop likely unconstitutional under the Fourth Amendment.
Feel harassed right now?
Do I know? This is my
Are
job.
you a reasonable person?
I would like to think so.
Okay, well, I'm doing more right now with you than I was then because I wasn't even talking to them.
But it's how they feel. It's not how I feel. It's how
You
they
just
feel.
said a reasonable person and that you're a reasonable person. I feel
I'm
that
not-
maybe they were unreasonable in their
I'm not going to sit
expectation
here-
of privacy in public.
And that's where you can.
They could have sat inside, sir.
But they didn't want to. They covered their faces. I was told by the manager. And
Why?
they left because they're not happy. So they asked him to stop, and there was a little disagreement between you and the guest.
Nope.
That's what I was
I
told.
didn't say a word.
How anybody can feel a certain way. I feel a certain way. They feel a certain way. People have the right to feel it. If they feel a certain way, they feel harassed by you. They should feel it.
Well, what I'm hearing though is a lot of feelings. Feelings.
Any other questions for us?
No, are you done harassing me? Are you telling me that I have to leave?
I never told you that you had to leave. I told you you could stay right there.
Okay, well, you wanted to become an amicable situation where
asked you
they
me.
were happy and I was happy.
Correct. I did do that. You are correct. I did do that, and I asked you if you could stand over there. Yes. You are right. I did do that. I never ordered you to leave.
They could have said, that's their business, that's the
Folks,
people that want to see.
you're in public. I'm sorry. Would you like to move inside? I can do that. Create your own privacy. If you don't want to be filmed in public or seen in public, maybe you shouldn't sit outside.
People allowed to sit there and ask you to not film them and not be upset by it. Can they be upset?
Can they? Sure. Can they call the cops and threaten a trespass? You know? Men with guns came because of a guy with camera. Breaking news. Three.
That's not why.
Three.
I'm the supervisor, and that's going extra $2
I appreciate you showing up because I don't trust these two. Not the way they were going. And can I have your card? Sure. I'll send you a copy later.
Not everyone is always educated out here as well in their calling piece. So we try to do that.
And that's part of what this is education. They didn't want to talk to me about it, though. They wanted to talk to you about it, so you had to do the
When I go to a
education.
restaurant, I don't want to talk to people walking by.
I don't even want you to show up. Tell dispatch. He's a guy with a camera. I talked to him already.
Did you have a loudspeaker too earlier?
Nope.
Someone said there was someone with a loudspeaker. I don't know what
But it does seem like your officer there solicited trespass without an investigation.
And that's your opinion, and you're very open to that.
When did you find out I was never on their property?
Send me that and we can talk, okay? I work Sunday as well.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you for your professionalism.
You're out to our jail with one adult man.
Throughout the encounter, Officer Surman and Sergeant Steeman repeatedly acted outside the bounds of the law. They detained Mr. Livingston without reasonable suspicion, violating his Fourth Amendment rights, and demanded ID even though he was lawfully standing on a public sidewalk. Their claim of trespassing didn't hold up. The manager had already told the dispatcher that he was only on the sidewalk. They also floated the idea of harassment, but Michigan law requires a repeated pattern of behavior to even consider that offense. Mr. Livingston had only one brief encounter with the patrons, making any harassment claim baseless. Even if someone felt uncomfortable being filmed, Mr. Livingston was exercising his First Amendment right to record in a public space, something the law clearly protects. Officers had no legal ground to stop or question him, let alone threaten arrest. The encounter ended without further incident. Mr. Livingston later filed a formal complaint with the East Lansing Police Department, but at the time of this recording, he hasn't received the results of that investigation. He did obtain body cam footage, the 911 and dispatch calls, and the incident report, but unfortunately, the video he recorded himself couldn't be recovered due to corrupted data.